Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakal Kadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth. And in fact, as you can see, the 3 videos there are from, how I first come into this truth. The Most High revealed to me that, and I said this back when I was just in Revelation times, and I was just looking at end times prophecy before I even came into this truth. But as I was, I made the statement that those that are in Israel today are not the real Jews. The real Jews came over here on slave ships. You call them black people. Well, I decided to further that up by looking it up. Sure enough, I ran across GMS Toronto. And here's a 3-part series that they just did, The Origins of Esau. Like I said, I had another Edomite make a comment on one of my videos, actually on 2 of my videos, saying that I was an idiot because Edomites are Sasquatch people, which I just read that in the last one. But Esau is a so-called white man, and he's trying to hide it. So anyhow, we don't hear much about Libya anymore, not since Muammar Gaddafi was taken out. But remember, if Kim Jong-un did not go with the idea of disarming, that they would take him out like they did Gaddafi. Libyan military on the verge of victory in Derna. Yeah, and here's a photo. I also have video for this. Editors note, graphic content, Libyan pro-government forces walked next to their vehicle mounted with a machine gun on May 18 in Abu Ghraib, south of Libya's third city, Mersta, a day after Libya's unity government recaptured the area from the Islamic State, which we know that really it's Israeli state terrorists that come out of Saudi Arabia, same ones that are in Syria. 4 of the bodies of the organization of the Islamic State, Daesh, in a truck in Abu Qaran, about 300 kilometers east of the Libyan capital, Tripoli. On May 18, 2016, the UN-backed government of National Accord, GNA, forces said on Facebook that they had recaptured Abu Ghraib strategic crossroads, where the coastal highway meets the main road south into the desert interior on May 17. So, Darna is located 1,000 kilometers east of Tripoli. The city was under the control of Shara Council of the Manjuma of Derna, which includes groups with Al-Qaeda. Prior to that, ISIS was in control of the city. So, again, pretty much, this country's been fighting the terrorists just a little bit longer than Syria. But as soon as Libya was done, man, they moved in on Syria. I got a little bit of video for this. Hopefully YouTube will allow me to play it. So anyhow, this is RNU video, so I'll play very little of it so I don't get shut down. Yeah, soon we're going to see military vehicles all over America because they're planning on shutting this whole thing down. You think that America that caused this, that this shit ain't going to happen to America? What does the scripture say? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with a sword must be killed by the sword. Here are the patience of the saints. Well, we're going to see this happen, So anyhow, they recaptured the area, as you can see here. And of course, we got another truther out there, Chris Green, which lately it's been Chad Bocam, but they used the truth to push Bitcoin to tell you could be rich in World War III, but if you're blown to smithereens, what good is that going to do you? Nah, man, you need to be spiritually built up if you're an Israelite. If you're an Edomite, man, then maybe you might want to live it up. And that's probably it. That's probably the main reason why they push to do that, to buy your packages, your bailout packages, if you will, like, food storages and stuff. But let's face it, somebody else who doesn't have it is just going to take it from you. Breaking, major Chinese military operation against U.S. is under the way. And, again, we know that a lot of truth to this video, so let's just take a look at this one.
Hey everybody, I'm Chad Booksam with Alternative Media Television. Something really interesting is happening, but first I want to start and remind everybody, just a few days ago, General James Mattis, he stated to China that if they bring weapons permanently to the man-made military islands in the South China Sea, there's going to be serious consequences. We've seen already China weaponizing the South China Sea. Now, also, we have this Singapore summit coming up. Now, we're seeing something very interesting, and I want to connect it for you, going on in the U.S. military. First, we've heard that B-1 bombers have been grounded. The Army has grounded this huge fleet, they said, for safety concerns. Also, what we're hearing, the Washington Post just reported this, that Chinese government hackers have compromised the computers of a Navy contractor, stealing massive amounts of highly sensitive data related to undersea warfare, including secret plans to develop a supersonic anti-ship missile for use on U.S. submarines by 2020. So, you have these bombers that the Army has grounded, the entire fleet. You have China, and reports coming out, again, from the Washington Post and other outlets, that they have gained information on highly classified secret warfare by the Navy. You also have, at this time, at a very tense time in the South China Sea, where basically we're on the brink of war with them, because what are we trying to do? The U.S. military is trying to gain access to these islands, and China is going to permanently weaponize the South China Sea. Also, the Singapore summit is going on, and just as Christopher Green reported not too long ago, there's no way that China will ever allow North Korea to be a puppet government of the United States. They're right on the border. They need them as a proxy always. That's why you're going to have Chinese military planes Chinese fighter jets escorting Kim Jong-un to Singapore, okay? They're going to be escorting him. And there's also reports that the hotel in Singapore might have been bugged, okay, by Chinese intelligence officials. So connect everything that is happening. Connect everything that is happening. The fleet has been shut down. All of this information, they've gained access to huge, classified, important wartime info in the middle of a very, very dangerous situation in the South China Sea. And I have a feeling that it is all connected. Anyway, leave your thoughts and opinions. Let me know how you feel. Again, my name is Chad. This is AMTV. Hard hitting it in your face. God bless.
And this one may be an older one, as that video was just a little bit older. I think it was like last week and stuff. I just noticed, though, that a lot of times AMTV, will try to use this as a ploy to sell Bitcoin. And, of course, Men of Valor 13 channel did a whole series on about the whole Bitcoin scam. Russia to expand American blacklist after new U.S. sanctions. Russia will expand its own blacklist of Americans in response to new U.S. sanctions announced by Trump. A Russian minister said Friday the Trump administration Thursday it was enacting the new sanctions on Russia, including individuals indicted last month by special counsel Robert Mueller, in a sweeping new effort to punish Moscow for its attempts to interfere in the 2016 U.S. election, which we know that's all bullshit. But this is from CNN, crappy network news, right? Run by Esau, so-called white men. So I'm going to play this video from Jason, and I think that he gives you good insight. Shalom, so here it is.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a counter-sanctions bill in response to the U.S.'s latest sanctions against the country. The sanctions were placed on the country after a new round of accusations by the U.S. The new sanctions were signed into law on Monday. They place restrictions on any state or person for hostile actions against Russia. Along with it comes a power to halt international cooperation with foreign states and impose import and export restrictions and other measures. The new measures designed to safeguard economic interests and security was drafted by the State Duma Speaker Volodin and the heads of all four parliamentary caucuses in mid-April and approved by Russian lawmakers by the end of May. These sanctions by Russia come as U.S. Secretary of Treasury Steve Mnuchin announced fresh sanctions on the Russian oligarchs and 12 companies they own, 17 senior Russian officials and state-owned armed exporting firm, and over a range of activities including Moscow's alleged meddling in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Washington said the punitive measures are in response to Russia's policies regarding Ukraine and Syria, as well as its cyber activities and attempts to subvert Western democracies. The U.S. sanctions are the most significant since Crimea's reintegration with Russia in 2014. Thank you for watching.
So anyhow, let's take a look at what else is going on. And we know that the Iraqi government is just another puppet of the United States, but they didn't like the Shia leader there, so they ousted him by using the new terror group ISIS back in 2014. So anyhow, fire hits biggest warehouse ballot before a recount. So there was a recount here in Iraq. Baghdad, a fire ripped through Iraq's biggest ballot warehouse on Sunday ahead of a vote recount prompted by allegations of a fraud during legislature elections that saw a surprise victory for a populist cleric. So anyhow, let's take a look here at some of the footage.
Hello and welcome to Press TV's Top 5. I'm Marzia Hashimi. Thanks so much for being with us. First story this hour takes us to Iraq, where a storage site housing ballot boxes from the May parliamentary election has caught fire in the capital. Now, the accident comes days after Parliament ordered a full ballot recount. Authorities say the site was divided into 4 warehouses, but only one of them has burned down. They say the ballot boxes belong to the Al-Rasafa district in Baghdad. Firefighters prevented the place from spreading to remaining parts. Now, the fire happened days after Parliament passed a law mandating a nationwide manual recount of votes from the election. There are allegations of widespread electoral violations in the May vote. The election saw Al-Sarun, a political alliance led by high-ranking cleric Muqtada al-Assad, winning the majority of the seats. Crossing back over to Baghdad now, joined by Press TV's Altaf Ahmed.
I do apologize for the background. Anyhow, I'm going to go to the next video and end this one. Too much noise from outside. So I'm going to end it on this scripture, which I was just bringing out Revelation 19 just most recently. So I'm just going to start in verse 19 of chapter 19 of Revelation. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And that's talking about Yahweh and the angels and them chariots, you know. And so the beast, we know that that's talking about the revised Roman Empire and all the kings on the earth, Russia and all them, and all of them to make war against, him, to make war against us. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, that is the false philosophies, that wrought miracles before him. And again, this is the whole deception, the Decepticons, if you will, which had deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image, that is, that loved his power structure, and took the RFID implant. These were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. That's talking about the thermonuclear weapons, thermonuclear fire, which is how America is going to be destroyed. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse. So not just that thermonuclear fire, but also Yahweh is going to be doing a lot of killing. Which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So again, Esau's just about ready to lose, and that's why he's trying to distract you from who he is. But it's not working. We know who he is. So-called white man is going into slavery and will be killed very shortly. Shalom.